So a busy weekend in the Mayo Senior, Intermediate and Junior Football Championship this weekend. Let's look back at the big games that took place. Group 1, first of all, in the Senior Championship. Well, there was some exciting games. Cormac, I suppose, Charlestown and Westport, first of all, and then you had Knockmore and Garrymore. Charlestown overcoming Westport. Westport, of course, the reigning intermediate champions, All-Ireland champions as well. But when you're playing senior, it's that step up, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. I seen a tweet from John Casey on Saturday evening. He said he'd been holding it from the time Westport won intermediate that Charlestown have beaten the reigning All-Ireland champions for the third time now across Mayo and Ballina, obviously back in the early noughties, and Westport this time. And as he said, it is a step up. And major concern, I suppose, for Westport going into the game, as Lee Keegan told us on Friday, was that a lot of the lads had been doing the leaving search, and they're a young side, so that step up will hurt them. And when you have players distracted somewhat going into the championship, there's no better team than Charlestown to take advantage, and they have 3 points now. Charlestown perhaps wouldn't have been thought of as a contender, but they really have started that championship group very well. And I know I was out at Knockmore, Garrymore as well on Saturday evening, and Garrymore got off to a brilliant start. They were 1-4 to a point up, and
Knockmore are a great championship team, aren't they? They
always
seem to rack up the scores.
That's the thing about it. They had to rely on Aidan Kilcoyne to pull off a great save at one stage when Garrymore looked like they might run away with it. But as soon as they got control around the middle, Kevin McLaughlin, Darren McHale, they just put the boot down, were relentless, and they hit 2-11 without reply to either side of the break to just take over the game completely. And they were very much in control throughout, and 2-18 is a massive score, and they're up and running now. That's 3 points for them. It does go down to the last game, but you'd have to fancy not more, really.
Certainly. In Group 2, it's interesting enough there as well. I suppose someone may see it as a shock. Certainly, we heard a report from Austin Garvin at the weekend in the Ballahadreen Davits game. Andy Moore put in a top performance.
Yeah, funny enough, I was coming down from Galway on Saturday morning, and I popped in to see the new Davits setup, and it's absolutely superb. Unfortunately for them, Ballahadreen spoiled the party that evening. I know Michael Ring was opening the new grounds, and it was a bit of a party atmosphere around Davits, but Andy Moore, he's still doing a time and time. Oh yeah, absolutely brilliant, and that's a major win for Ballahadreen, because yourself, this year has not been going well for them, so for them to come out of that with a win, it was massive.
Now, Brafey and Hollymount Carmore, a very close game. Since Hollymount Carmore have come up from intermediate, they've always been a top team. They've done very well in the 1A of the Senior League as well. Going quite close with Brafey, but Brafey just holding out to him by 2 in the end. Yeah,
and I think it was 2 late goals in the space of a minute. Liam Irwin penalty was one of those, and that really turned around for Brafey. Big win for them, but I think they have 4 points now, so they're almost certainly through, I think. But it's disappointing for Hollymount, as you said. They could have done with that one. So close, but Brafey, they've been thereabouts for a long time now, and they know how to win these games.
So it looks as if Brafey definitely going to be through to the next stage.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's looking, and then it's a fight out between the other 3 teams. So and all to play for in the last round.
In Group 3 now, Ballintubber, of course, they be regarded, I suppose, as the closest challenger to Mitchell's, really, if they're to dethrone Castlebar going for that 3 in a row. They had a good win against Ahamore. Ahamore, a team who've been going very well, of course. A lot of great players coming through the last couple of years, but just Ballintubber, I suppose, that far superior.
Yeah, and you talk about a team who's been around the block and a man who's been around the block, and Dillon, by all accounts, had a massive game for them. So that's a huge plus for them to have the likes of him to call upon, and it says a lot for Dillon that he hasn't seen a lot of action from Mayo, and yet he's still able to turn in a great performance. Killian obviously hit 1-6. Jermage is supposed to have had a big influence on the game too. So when you can call on that calibre of player, there really is. It's very tough for the likes of Ahamore, who are a young side and an up and coming side, but Ballintubber, when they're on form, very, very hard to beat. And, as you said, they'll be the ones looking to challenge Castlebar at the end of the year.
Claremorris had a big win down in Bangor. It's never an easy place to go. We know that. 113 to 19, the full-time score for Claremorris against Kiltane. A lot of cards brandished in this game as well. I think I got a bit of feisty.
Yeah. Our reporter John Brennan was down, and he said it wasn't for the faint-hearted. But, that's championship football, and Kiltane, they, only lost by 4 in the end, having Mikey Sweeney sent off, I think for a second buckle offence in the first half. So they're struggling this year big time, but they can still, make a game go down to the wire. But it's a big win for Claremorris. They're left themselves in with a chance. They drew the last day against Ahamore, so they're have a very good chance. I know they have to play Ballintober in the last game, but still, if results go their way, they could be looking at a last 8 position, so they'll be happy with that.
Certainly Kiltane Ahamore, the last game, will be a hard one to call as well.
Yeah, I suppose it's going to be a neutral venue for all these final games, but it's Kiltane won't want to go back into the relegation playoffs. They'll probably take some heart from there yesterday, and if they can get a couple of players back, I know they've management issues and that there, but if they can get them sorted out, depending on Mayo's run, it could be a few months before they're back out.
Just on that point as well, you'd imagine there would be a lot of headaches for people organising the fixtures in terms of the final group games now in all senior, intermediate and junior. It could be difficult, I suppose, to organise everything, really. Yeah,
well, I suppose some counties have, all games at neutral venues, all championship rounds. I know having been up in Kildare and Dublin and seeing those how it worked up there, it seems to work very well. It's a new departure for Mayo. It probably is fair in the respects that I know a lot of groups are going down to the last game, and it can be very hard on a team to have to go to the backyard of someone else to try and get a win. But at the same time, it is going to be tough. It's a big county. There's a lot of pitches around the place and a lot of teams in contention, so it will be, I'm sure the county board are hopeful that Mayo can go on a long way, and it'll give them a bit more time to make these decisions.
We'll have to wait and see till the weekend of July 1st and 2nd. The final group 4 in the senior stakes, Mitchells, look at they are what they are. They're the real kingpins of Mayo football. They're going for 3 in a row Moclair Cups. They had a big win against Ballinrobe weekend.
Yeah, and that was predicted. Ballinrobe have some very good young players coming through, but you're up against a side who are so seasoned. Neil Douglas, I think, he had won 6 at the weekend. I saw them against Crossmline in the first round, and they never got out of second gear, and they still comfortably won that game. They're just so polished at the moment. Even when they're missing players, other players can come in and slot in there, and they're just hitting 120 without breaking sweat. That's very impressive, and they're through now. With Ballina, they have same as last year. It's worked out. They're qualified after 2 games, so they can rest players in the last round game. They can, they have this off to a T, and they're looking at a Connacht title. They're obviously, they can't take their eye off Mayo, but this is a side that has their sights set a lot higher, and they're proving it yet again.
Yeah, certainly Ballintober and Brave here, 2 teams that have something to say about that. But the final game you mentioned there, Ballina, Steve Nice and Crossmline, you were at that game yourself. I was somewhat surprised at the margin of victory in this one. I thought it would be a lot closer.
Yeah, and last year Crossmline went to Ballina, and that group was exactly the same last year, but Crossmline won that game, won 7 points, and it had a really dour game, and they probably would have hoped for something similar this year, but Ballina got a goal from Kieran Tracy in the very first attack, and from then on Ballina, they went 1-7 to no score ahead after 20 minutes. Tracy was unplayable at times. Kevin Newell and Evan Regan and himself were absolutely electric in the full forward line and really got on top. Ballina, it's the first time in a while they've put back-to-back wins in the championship. They're looking like a side that have potential to kick on. I don't see them winning the championship this year, but they're moving in the right direction, which it's great to see a club like Ballina come back into it, because they've been in the doldrums for a while. But with Ger Cafferty back now, he did go off injured, I know, but hopefully it won't be too bad. But Dave Clark in goals, you have the likes of David O'Mahony, a lot of experience in the back line, and you have that youth in the mix of youth and experience in the forward line, and Regan and Tracy are a real match for anyone. So look, Ballina will be delighted. They're through now. They can experiment in the last game against Castlebar. It's shot to nothing, and they still have a quarter final to come. So they'll be quietly confident of making a semi final, and that'll be progress from this year.